Today I'm going to talk about managing up. This is when you are putting yourself in your boss's shoes and helping your boss be successful. I had a client who was not having the best relationship with his manager, and he did not get promoted. And as I asked him more questions to understand what was happening, I started seeing the big picture. He said that he criticized his boss a lot and that the people around him were getting promoted and he wasn't. So I asked him, are you familiar with the concept of managing up? Finding out what is important to your boss and doing things to fill in the gap between where your boss is and where things could or should be. First, he was a little bit defensive. He said, why doesn't he know how to do his job? And, I had to take a moment and say, well, there's certain strengths people have in certain areas where they may not have strengths. The question is, if you want your department to be successful, if you want your boss to be successful, that's going to make you successful as well. He wasn't quite convinced, yet my client was talking about wanting to get promoted. And I asked him to share, what do you observe in those people who have gotten promoted? Well, they're always meeting with him and they get along really well with him. I guess they're managing up. Why do I have to do that? Why do I have to waste my time doing that? Why is that my job? And it was a fair ask. And I said, look, you don't have to do anything. You are doing well in your role. You have good feedback on your role. Yet you tell me you want to get to the next level. You know who gets promoted? People who have the perspective of their boss, people who are managing up, people who are easy to work with, and people who collaborate. So as you have talked about those other people who got promoted, that sounds like what they're doing, doesn't it? He looked down, he took a deep breath. He said, yeah, they are. They're actually quite easy to work with, and maybe I'm being kind of a pain. I said, who wants to promote and work even more collaboratively with someone that they think is difficult to work with? Someone who is overly critical and not supporting them as a boss. So remember that managing up is something that is very common, and don't think of it as, I know all these things my boss doesn't know. Think of it as there is something that you may be able to see that your boss does not, and if you are able to provide constructive feedback and support, not just complaining or criticizing, but actually making a difference, that is going to be something your boss will really appreciate. So imagine you have a boss who's very, very big picture, but misses a lot of the details, and you're very good at details. That's your strength. If you are able to manage up and help your boss fill in those details, your boss will be so appreciative. You will be seen as someone supportive who is easy to work with and sees the vision, sees the big picture, and wants to support the path there. So here's to your positive future, managing up, and here's to your wisdom, power, resilience, and grace.